Namaste Soul Family. This video is about, tri bonds and quad bonds. I don't know if these terms, actually exist, or, if this, particular, explanation exists under a different terminology, or, wording. Tri bonds that I, discovered, they do exist already under different names. But, the connection between them and, the 12-year cycles, you know, they are more, in-depth, esoteric, and, somewhat different than, you know, the explanations that they carry as mutable signs, cardinal signs, and fixed signs. So basically, they're in, for the quad bonds, they're in that, arrangement. For the tri bonds, it's somewhat similar. We've got, these are, frequencies ranging from 1 to 9. Okay, and, the quad bonds, these are frequencies ranging from 1 to 12. So the tri bonds now are like, they're still, you know, under, their usual arrangement, fixed signs, cardinal signs, and mutable signs. So if you've got, Taurus, Leo, and Scorpio as a quad bond set, for the fixed signs. And then we've got Aries, Cancer, and Libra for the cardinal signs. And then we've got Gemini, Virgo, and Sagittarius for the mutable signs. Of course, taking that up to another level, okay, we've got the quad bonds, okay, and it's them same sets of threes, okay, plus one. So we have added to, the fixed signs, okay. We've got Aquarius, because that too is a fixed sign. It's the 11th house. 1 plus 1 is 2, okay. Though, following 9, the frequencies aren't reduced. Like, for example, 10, 11, 12. Okay, those, of their own, carry their own frequency meanings, okay, because 11, that represents twin flame, and 12, that represents ascension, okay. Pisces, that's the, the oldest, the eldest zodiacal frequency, okay. But if we were to reduce them, we'll find a continuation and repetition, because Aquarius would be 2 like Taurus, okay. In fact, so we find a continuation of that cycle, all right, because that is a frequency. And then for the cardinal signs, you've got Capricorn, the Fool, okay, 1, 0. For the mutable signs, you've got Pisces, 1, 2, that's 12, okay, and that can be reduced to a 3 Gemini frequency. And when you look at, the similarities of these frequencies, Aquarians are like Taurans, but, Taurans, there is a contrast, and that's why I said these months and their frequencies, the numerologies, they are like mirrors. And so, yes, there are other universes, because everything, you know, basically has a double ganger, if you want to call it that. And that's what causes the continuation, the continuum, the repetitions, okay. So we've got, those not supposed to be reduced, but say it was, it would be reduced to Taurus. All right, because Taurus is, it's really, opposite Aquarius. We know that Leo is at the opposite end of that Aquarius Leo spectrum, but frequency wise, in terms of time and space, Aquarius and Taurus, they're opposites, okay? So Aquarius is like Taurus split, you know, in a, philosophical kind of way. Um, Taurus, they're the past. Aquarius, they're the future. And that's why I said they're like opposites. It's like a mirror effect. Because your mirror image is not exactly the same as you. Okay? The left is on the right. Right is on the left. And, it's like a different dimension. And that's why some people believe that you can use mirrors to enter other dimensions, or other worlds, other dimensions. Alright, so, and, for And yeah, Capricorns are like Aries. They're all bosses. They are, both domineering and, very, industrious. And, though Capricorn is an earth sign, it is, one that is very industrious and um, moving, one that takes action, Yeah. And, that creates that similarity between Saturn and Mars. Yeah. If you don't step out, if you don't move, you will never understand. You will never learn, which is your Saturn. Okay? Um, Moving on to the mutable signs. Pisces, I can definitely say they're like Geminis. Uh, they're very communicative like Geminis. And no wonder, because when reduced, it is a Gemini. When the future is reduced, it is the past. It's like Taurus and Aquarius, okay? When you as a big boss is reduced, you're a little boss. Okay, a big boss in the making. You gotta first, be the manager before you can become the CEO, Or you gotta first, be the store clerk, then, the supervisor, then the manager, and then the CEO, okay? But you're the small boss. And it's because you were a small boss, you became, or you're becoming, or you will become a big boss, okay? So it is because of the past why the future is. So, the past is important. And so is the present. Okay, because the present moments become past moments. And they're present because we have them in our hands, at our grasp. We are able to manipulate this space and time however we want to, so that we can make the past however we want it. So that we can have the future however we want it. So reducing Pisces to Gemini. And that's why Pisceans, they're so communicative. I'm going to just use Pisces rising and Gemini rising, because that's how people see you, and that's how we usually see people. Despite of how they try to perceive themselves, or for others to perceive them, we see them by their rising sign. So Pisces rising, so hopeful, so full of life, so communicative, so, loving, just like the lovers. Gemini rising. And Gemini risings, there's so much more different than Sun in Gemini. Let me say that. Way more. And the risings and the suns, they form their own mirror effects too. Their own mirror. There's a mirror right there created, by the sun and the eclipsing of the sun and the rising signs. Okay? And a Gemini sun is different from a Gemini rising. The left is on the right and the right is on the left. And so most Gemini suns, they tend to be really petty and, gossip a lot, and talk too much. But in Gemini rising, they're tapped into that lover's frequency. They're tapped into the trueness, the rawness, the authenticity of what the Gemini frequency is. Yes, it's interrupted, but it is to help. Okay? When it is in the sun sign, that interruption is for gaze and ego and selfishness. Okay? And it is the same with Pisces. Okay? So our rising signs, that's the essence or spirits, who we are to the core, is very essential to understand and to get to know. So there I just spoke about the tri-bonds and the quad bonds, and I titled these, in this manner for, frequency reason, okay, in terms of the primary goal, the primary frequency of each year, because they're all reduced to a number, a numerology, and numbers mean something, hence numerology, the study of numbers, okay, because everything vibrates, even the numbers. Okay, so that's what I got for you guys where tri-bonds and quad bonds are concerned. NAMASTÉ. I hope I didn't lose anyone.